right. I guess good morning, everyone. My name is Azeem Majeed. Some of you I met before, my first time coming here to Cool Cops Academy. It's always a blessing to come here to speak to you all, to share with you all some of my experiences, some of the lessons that I've learned throughout my journey in life. I'm not going to get too deep into my story during this particular meeting because I have some other lessons that I want to share with you all that I, as I said, acquired throughout my story. As many of you know already, I'm a returning citizen, which means, I was recently released from the Virginia Department of Corrections. I'm from Norfolk, Virginia, where I currently reside. I spent 26 years incarcerated in the Virginia Department of Corrections. I like to start out by being transparent, whenever I'm speaking to individuals, especially speaking to the youth, to show y'all that, I'm not just an individual just up here just speaking, from a theoretical standpoint. I'm speaking from a practical standpoint, which means I live, exactly what I'm going to share with y'all, and the lessons that I've acquired, I apply them in my own life and, proven to be successful. So, I spent 26 years incarcerated. As I said, I was incarcerated at the age of 17. And I was originally charged with capital murder, robbery, 2 counts of robbery, malicious wounding, and assault and battery. And I was sentenced to serve 2 consecutive life without parole sentences plus 29 years. It was a traumatic experience. Fortunately, when I entered the DOC, I was able to reform myself and, become a better version of myself and, and fight, and to the point where I had my life without parole sentences vacated. I was eventually resentenced, and, I received the release date that allowed me, a new sentence that would allow me, that gave me a release date. But also, as a consequence of a new bill that went into effect in Virginia that allowed juvenile offenders to be eligible for parole after serving 20 years, I qualified, to be eligible for parole after I was resentenced, and I went up for parole and made first parole, and I was released on September the 10th, 2021. So this is what I mean when I say I'm a returning citizen and I'm out here, I'm, being successful. And I believe personally that after going through what I went through and coming out here in society, if I don't share my experiences with the youth, then I feel like everything that I went through in order to get to this particular point, it would be in vain. So I want to share my experiences, as I said, so that you all can benefit from them. As I always say, that experience is the toughest teacher because it gives the test first and the lesson last. So I want you all to be wise individuals, the type of individuals who learn from other people's mistakes, because you can't live long enough to make them all yourself, right? So what I want to talk to you today about is a theme that I want to bring to you all. And the theme is, don't go through life on autopilot. Don't go through life on autopilot. Can anyone tell me what autopilot is, if you know?
By yourself.
By yourself? Anybody else? Okay, let's say, have you ever heard, let's say if a plane, an aircraft is in the air, and this aircraft is in the air, and you put it on autopilot, that means you can let go of the, what do you call it? I guess it's this, you don't want to call it the steering wheel, what do you call it?
In a plane, I don't know.
Well, what the mechanisms in which you control the plane.
Right.
Whether it goes higher, whether it goes lower, whether it, the speed. And autopilot means it's like in a car when you on cruise control, right? However, you still have to control the wheel on cruise control. But on autopilot, it's like the altitude, you stay at a particular altitude, a level, in a particular speed, and you can let go and you can fall asleep, and you just cruise, right? And you just cruise. So the problem with this is, when I say don't go through life on autopilot, I'm not saying get ahead of yourself and speed through life. What I'm saying is be in control of your mind. Be in control of your actions. Many of us, we go through life on autopilot, and meaning whichever way the wind blows, that's where we go, right? And we become so accustomed to this that we can't attain our goals deliberately. And I'm going to break this down and explain what I mean. I tell people all the time when I speak to them that we have to be careful with being in a comfort zone. This comfort zone is like being on autopilot. See, because when you're in a comfort zone, right, it feels good. That's the only thing that you're going to get out of being in a comfort zone, right? It feels good. But when you're in a comfort zone, all these wonderful opportunities, you're going to watch them pass you by, right? See, because you're scared to step out of that comfort zone into an uncomfortable situation and circumstances. Greatness comes out of uncomfortable situations and circumstances, right? So just like if you're lifting weights, when you first start lifting weights, it's going to be hard, right? But in order to get to the next level, you got to push through. It's going to be uncomfortable. But as I always say, that which is easy becomes harder the less that you do it, and that which is hard becomes easier the more that you do it. I'm going to give you an example. Each and every one of us, when we came, I see a little baby back there right now, right? The baby it's not even old enough to walk. Beautiful baby. But once that baby started walking, right, it's going to be hard, right? It's going to be difficult for that baby, right? It's going to fall down, and the parents is going to help the baby back up, right? Walking is a very difficult feat to accomplish. It's going to be hard. And remember what I just said. That which is hard becomes easier the more that you do it. So the more that baby try to walk and keep trying to deliberately try to walk and push through. See, it's comfortable if the baby sit in that comfort zone and just sit and the parents just feeding it and taking care of it, right? But if the baby don't continue to try and to step out of that comfort zone, it's never going to walk. So it's hard initially. But the more that the baby push through, the easier it's going to become. And before you know it, it's going to be like us. As I said, walking is a difficult feat. You got depth perception. Meaning you have to remember the distance of your feet to the ground. If not, you're going to walk like this. But you don't realize that you're doing something so great and so remarkable and so extraordinary because you've done it so much and that it's become easy to you. You got equilibrium. All of these different, like you got to control your balance. When you walk, it's something hard, but you've done it so much that it's become easy to you. Right? So now I guarantee you, if you were to get in a car accident and you were to become a paraplegic or you were bedridden for months at a time, I guarantee you when you get up to try to walk, you might remember mentally, right? But your body is not going to remember it. You're going to try to walk and you're going to fall down. That which is easy becomes harder the less that you do it. So the fact that you stop walking for months, for years, it's going to be hard when you initially try to do it. But it's going to become easier again, easier the more that you try it. Is making sense what I'm saying? And this is how it is in life. Everything that you want to accomplish initially, it's going to be difficult in the beginning because you've never done it before. But this is part of the maturation process, the growth process. Just like in school, in order to get to the next level, you have to take tests. But the beautiful thing about school is that you get the lessons before you take the test, and you can study. See, but in life, sometimes you get the test without the lessons, right? So you have to learn from other people's lessons, as I said at the outset of this talk. Learn from other people's mistakes because you can't live long enough to make them all yourself, and that's the wise person. Because experience is the hardest teacher, the toughest teacher, because they give the test first and the lesson last. So let me back up for a moment. When I say don't go through life on autopilot, you can go through life on autopilot. I'm talking about the mind, right? Sometimes we start living, we just exist. There's a difference between existing and living deliberately, right? So existing, you just in a comfort zone. Whatever the day brings, you accept it. I tell people all the time, never accept anything that you deem yourself unworthy of receiving. So the first thing that you have to determine is what you want out of life, what you feel that you deserve. And then you're going to have to deliberately put forth the effort to accomplish that particular goal. See, but you can't do that if you're going through life on autopilot. So how do you get out of autopilot? You have to control the way that you think. And this is going to be the foundation of what I'm sharing with you today. This is what got me to the particular point that I'm here at today talking to you all. Being deliberate in my thinking process. Being a responsible thinker. Right? And I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to prove to you what I'm saying right now. Each and every one of you right now are doing something. I guarantee you, I'm going to show you something. You're doing something that you're not even aware that you're doing, right? Because you've done it so long. And this process, this thing that you're doing right now, it's breathing. See, but you just allow something outside of yourself to bring your awareness and attention to something that you was doing on autopilot. Right? So this is why some of the coping mechanisms that we're giving in order to control anxiety and stress is breathing. How to control your breathing. Slow down. Take deep breaths. But many of us, what we do, I guarantee you, not one person in this room was thinking about breathing until I brought that to your attention. But it's something that you're doing. So it's possible for you to breathe without thinking about it. But the moment you start controlling your breathing, now you're getting the most out of it. And this is the same thing with the thought process. People say all the time, you're asking, what are you thinking about? And some people say, I ain't thinking about nothing. That's literally impossible. It's impossible for anybody to think about nothing. How? What they mean is that whatever outside entity or force give me, right, that's what I'm going to think about. If a car driving in front of me, I'm going to think about that car, right? If I got a late bill, I'm going to think about that bill, right? Whatever it is in life, whatever life gives you, you're going to think about it. But you're not going to control your thought process, right? This is what people mean when they say that I'm thinking about nothing. Can y'all feel me? So, what I want to give you all today is a few skills that I believe that if you utilize them, that you can channel your energy and your thought process and accomplish whatever it is that you want to accomplish in life. And this is the 4 steps of responsible thinking. It's called being cognitive, being aware of every single thing that you do when you're doing it, and deliberately choosing choices that's going to have the best consequence of it, as a result. So you got the 4 steps of responsible thinking. Every single thing that you do in life, it should have a foundation. Without a foundation, right, whatever it is that you try to do is going to fail. If you try to build a house, right, and let's say if you start with the roof first, I start with the roof, and if I don't put a foundation, what's going to happen? What's going to happen if I try to build a house from the roof down? It's going to collapse. It's impossible, right? I got the good intentions. I want to build a house, but the method, the procedure that I'm using to accomplish that particular goal, it's like impossible, right? So now, let's say if I start from a foundation, I lay the foundation, and I build a house from the ground up, now we're getting somewhere. And this is how it is with the mind. So when I say the 4 steps of responsible thinking, the first thing that you want to do is pay attention to your thoughts. Pay attention to the way that you think. And what I mean by that is, whatever it is that you are thinking, right? Look at your thought process exactly as it is. So let's say if someone upsets you in life and you get upset, and you say, man, I want to slap this individual, right? It's a negative thought. It's the truth. We all have crazy thoughts. This is the truth, right? But if you're thinking that thought, you have to look at that thought for exactly what it is. Because if you don't, you can't change it. Y'all feel what I'm saying? If you don't. So this is what I mean by pay attention to the way that you think. Look at your thoughts from an objective standpoint. An objective means unbiased, which means like if you record something into a tape recorder and play it back, if you're making music, right? Then you know exactly what you said. How you know that you need to change what you're saying or change the beat up or change the words of the lyrics if you don't play back exactly what you just recorded in there. So this is how it is with the mind. You're not going to know how to connect, reconstruct your cognitive, functioning if you don't look at your thoughts exactly as they are. And this is one of the most important pieces of advice that I can give you all, because had I had it when I was your age, I would not enter the Virginia Department of Corrections and ended up serving 2 consecutive life without parole sentences, plus 29 years. If I would have paid attention to the way that I was thinking when I first got in trouble, when I was feeling it, when I was getting upset and getting angry, right? And I thought about doing something to this particular individual or that particular individual, right? the results would have been different. So once you pay attention to the way that you think, meaning looking at your thoughts exactly as they are, the next thing that you want to do is notice when you have a thought that will get you in trouble. So once you look at it, now you start judging it, say, if I do this particular thing, what I'm thinking, can I get in trouble as a consequence of that? What would be the result of me acting upon this? A lot of times we don't think about the consequences of our actions. So what would be the result? What is the likelihood of me getting a beneficial consequence or non-beneficial consequence? Right? So then, once you do that, that's the second step. Now we're building a foundation. We're talking about this house, right? The house starts with the foundation, right? We're trying to build something. The foundation to that house is what? The first thing is paying attention to the way that you think. The second level is what? Noticing when you have a thought that gets you in trouble, right? The third one is replacing that thought with another thought that will lower the risk. What we mean by that is, once you realize the thought that could get you a negative consequence, then you replace it with another thought that will give you a beneficial consequence, right? So we're not saying ignoring the problem, but how can you get the best result? For instance, if you're having an incident with the individual and you're thinking about shooting that individual, right? Maybe replacing that thought with another thought that will lower the risk would be like fighting the individual. And I'm not in here encouraging anyone to be fighting, but what I'm saying is it's better to fight and live another day than to throw your life away and to spend your life in prison or to be dead. Y'all understand what I'm saying? So this is what I mean by being a responsible thinker. It will lower the risk. The lower the risk of you getting in trouble, you got a lower risk of getting in trouble if you fight an individual as opposed to stabbing them and killing them. Right? So now, that's the third thing. So the fourth thing that you want to do is practice this until you get good at it. Practice what? This is the roof. What do you practice until you get good at it? Paying attention to the way that you think. Noticing when you have a thought that gets you in trouble. Replacing that thought with another thought that will lower the risk. And then practicing this until you get good at it. When you do that, now you're not traveling through life on autopilot. You're traveling through life with deliberate, intentional steps, right? Towards the goals that you're trying to accomplish. Because wherever you're trying to do in life, whatever you're trying to be in life, you best believe there's going to be some obstacles along the way. You best believe that there's going to be individuals who try to get you off of your path. You better believe that. So you have to be a responsible thinker and to be in control of your own life and determine the best way that you're going to handle those problems that you're going to be confronted with. Because if not, you're going to be like the individual who going through life on autopilot. In every situation, people and things outside of yourself are going to control you. And as a consequence, you're going to get something that you don't deserve. You're going to give yourself something that you don't deserve. See, because as I always say, the only thing that anybody in life got complete control over is their mind. But so few people control it. So few people control it. Meaning I'm only going to listen to, right, what I believe is going to benefit me. If I believe that you're trying to help me, I'm going to listen to you. But if I believe that you're trying to hurt me, I'm not going to listen to you. It's just as simple as that. Y'all feel me? So you don't want to go through life on autopilot. If you do that, I promise you the consequences are going to be negative. Y'all feel me? So as I said, I didn't want to come in here today and to give you all a whole, spiel about prison. I've done that before. Whole spiel about my legal situation, about me overcoming my challenges. I didn't want to give you that, right? I wanted to give you something that got me through, right? And what got me through is acquiring the ability to control this, my mind. And I just gave you an example. I showed you how easy it is not to think about, to go through life on autopilot. Just when I gave you all the example about breathing. And I want y'all to take that with y'all throughout the day. Just consciously think about how you're breathing and apply that to your mind. And go through life, spend each and every day trying to control your mind. I'm going to give you another example. Oftentimes when we get in trouble, We get in trouble because we allow something outside of ourselves to control this right here. And when we do that, we are giving other entities and other people power over us. So if someone do something to upset you, oftentimes we spend a day, 3 days, a week, a month upset with that individual. Thinking about it as if being upset is going to change the situation or circumstance. Now, again, I'm not telling you not to get upset. It can be healthy. When you get upset, that's like letting an individual know that, listen, there's boundaries and you're crossing it. Right? But what's right or wrong is how we act upon that anger, how we express it. Right? So if someone get upset you, here's what I want you to do. Try to think about something that makes you happy. Don't ignore the problem. That's not what I'm saying. But you can't think about the best way to handle that problem if you're in a state of anger and rage. Let the problem exist, right? Deal with the problem. Solve the problem. But when you get upset, when you're spending your days angry and just thinking about, oh, this person done this to me and done that to me, you're not hurting anybody but yourself because they're not over there thinking about you. So you deserve more than that. Give yourself something more than that. Have a peaceful day. I tell people all the time, if I think about myself, if I'm upset, if I start thinking about being on, a beach with my wife and daughter and mother and family and we having a cookout and, whatever, we just enjoying family time on a hot sunny day, right? If I'm thinking about that, I'm not going to be upset thinking about that. Y'all feel me? So it's not that I'm ignoring the problem. It's just I'm not going to kill myself with stress and anger and give that problem more rights to happiness than me. And what I mean is that problem is not even like, thinking about me or the person that caused the problem. But I'm sitting over here thinking about this or the person that upset me. And I'm giving them too much power over me. I'm giving them the power and authority to control this, which is my mind. And as I said, your mind is the only thing that anyone on the face of this planet has complete control over. But so few of us control it. Y'all feel me? So control your minds. This is my message today. Be responsible thinkers. Be responsible thinkers. I know it's something that we're not going to get in a day. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes practice, right? But if you apply these principles, I promise you that it will enhance the quality of your life. And whatever it is that you're striving to attain, you're going to accomplish it. And I love y'all, and I'm serious when I say that, like I want the best for y'all, and y'all are some great children. And I know that if you continue to, channel your focus and your energy and be responsible thinkers and put forth the effort to deliberately and intentionally attain your goals, you're going to attain it. Y'all feel me? So, and I appreciate y'all allowing me to come out here, and to share some of my experiences and wisdom with you all today. And I look forward to coming back to speak with you all again. It's always a great pleasure. It's always a great pleasure, and I appreciate you, Miss Elizabeth. So, but before I go, I want to ask if anyone have any questions, comments, or concerns, that you want to address, you can do that right now. We can talk about it. If you want to talk to me after this, one-on-one, I'm available for that too. So, I'm going to open up the floor if any of you got any questions or concerns.